We knew this was a distinct possibility, but I can confirm we are champions of League Two. Don't be deceived by the fact that as I hit start record, to record the trophy lifting thing, it didn't actually happen. We are champions. We did finish above Crew. I don't know why Football Manager didn't play the trophy thing. It did feel like it robbed me of a moment just a little bit. As you can see though, in the end we did secure the League 2 title by 3 points. Sadly, we didn't break the record for most points in this division. That record set at 109 points, but in spite of that we did end up finishing 3 points clear of Crew. And, well, mission accomplished. Our form to end the season wasn't exactly ecstatic, but you know what? We did what we needed to do. A win against Notts County, draw and defeat against Stevenage and Walsall, but on the final day, 4-0 against Chesterfield. You might have spotted it as well. Faye, he scored 2. Love Faye. What a player. And I suppose it's obvious to say, if you're sat thinking, who's Faye? Don't know that bloke. Go watch yesterday's video, Youth Intake Transfers. Quite excited for the coming season. Anyway, first bit of this episode, before we get into some transfer stuff, it's just going to be a little bit of an end of season wrap up. You can see here the board have set the initial expectations for League 2, or for League 1 rather. They want a mid-table finish. Also, my contract expires at the end of the year. Probably should ask for a new contract. They want us to play possession football, make the most of set pieces, play defensively solid football, play entertaining football, and play high-tempo pressing football. They're not asking for too much, are they? And if you were wondering about the squad dynamics, you can see here Ricky D and Goma Jude, the top 3 players in terms of leaders in the dressing room, and most people love me. The dressing room atmosphere is good too. Now, we haven't actually had the official end of season review bit yet. I think that will come after the playoffs, so I'm going to mash continue for a little bit. If anything interesting happens, I'll let you know. Also, we should run the intro. Editing Jack, just stick in the intro here. Definitely didn't forget about the intro. Run it. Okay, a couple of little bits of interesting news. The board have announced that the stadium expansion plans have been scrapped. They've been stuck in limbo for years. I feel like it was almost bugged to a degree, but good news, there's no new stadium for now. And elsewhere, the board have requested an improvement to the youth level. They want to know if I want it. I asked for it earlier on in the year and they said no. Of course, I'm going to say yes to it. So our youth level is going to be improved. They're going to make the necessary upgrades to the youth academy to make it level 2. I don't think that's going to cost us anything. I hope it's not going to cost us anything. Last time we had the youth level raised, I immediately got an inbox item about youth facility changes. I've not had that yet. Might have made an error here, just off camera as I was hitting continue, requested that we improve the training facilities. The board have accepted it. It costs us £3.7 million. 3.7 million. I mean, right now the training facilities are good. They're going to go up another level. We do still have £1.6 million in the bank, but considering we did have over 5 million, that's not ideal. I suppose the one saving grace I've got is that we will get £400,000 in July of this year as part of the Bradley Edwards sale. And when it comes to the Jake Garrett sale, Luton are paying us £2.5 million this January upcoming and this July upcoming. So we've still got £5 million to receive from Jake. So in some ways, Jake has, I suppose, funded the training facilities. 3.7 million though. That's a lot. Okay, the training facilities are going to be improved. I've kind of just decided I can't do anything about it. We might as well embrace it. It is now the 13th of May in game, so I have hit continue quite a bit here. We have got the end of season review. Mansfield Town, the team winning the playoffs from 7th place. I mean, fair play to them. They've been stuck in this division for like 15 years. Finally, they've escaped. Very interesting this. In our end of season review, signing of the year, apparently, Luke Chambers. This guy came in to be the replacement for Garrett. He had an awful debut, I seem to remember, but since then, he's played really well. 4 goals, 7 assists, 5 player of the matches and 15. I'll be honest, those kind of performances have kind of gone under the radar. He's like Ricky D too. Just a player who I don't give enough credit to. Elsewhere in the team, you can see of all the new signings we made, we had some really good performers in here. Guerrero, 8 goals, 4 assists. Stuart Masters, 3 assists, 14 appearances. McKeesey, 17 appearances, 4 goals from centre-back. Just as a reminder, he's not yet naturally a centre-back. This guy's very good. I love him. In terms of signings that we made that weren't so good, Moreland, let's not discuss Moreland, and also Forsyth. Forsyth is a player who I've barely mentioned this year, has repeatedly got injured and just missed a lot of football over the course of this year. In fact, you can see here, over 2 months of football missed. Was training him to play defensive midfielder, so he'd fit more into our new system. Hasn't learnt it nearly quickly enough. The kind of player who I might not be against selling come the end of the year if the right bid comes in. Of course, in terms of end of season results, top of the league is always good to see. It was close with Crewe at the end, but the goal difference always meant that we had this little leg up on them, in spite of the fact they were 3 points behind us. Over in the FA Cup, let's not discuss the AFC Wimbledon defeat. Carabao Cup, we lost to Arsenal. That was at the start of the season. And then the Pizza Trophy, don't care about it, knocked out by Peterborough. And here is the team for the season. Jude and Goldsmith up top. They have been our two main strikers. Worth noting, it is choosing to use the system that we used for the first half of the season, which means it maybe doesn't reflect how we ended up finishing up this year. Inspired that, though, you can see here, Andreni, McLaughlin, Ricky D, all putting in some really good performances. And even Keeley in goal. Yes, he has had his issues with injury, which do somewhat raise concern. He's missed a lot of football and he is out injured at the moment. But in spite of that, when he is in the team, this bloke plays very well in goal for us. I didn't realise this, but Jaime Guerrero, record transfer at £27,000. Wouldn't be surprised if that gets broken this summer if the right player is available. Jude picked up Fans Player of the Year. Goldsmith was Young Player of the Year. Signing of the Year went to Chambers, who actually had a better rating than both of them, but only played one half the season. Now, we do get £500,000 as a solidarity payment from League Two. What does that take our bank balance to? It takes it to 1.7 million. The sooner we get in those transfer instalment bits we're owed, the better. Now, last episode, I talked about the fact that I'd picked up Zangnon from Liverpool, who was set to be released, and also Grandison. I have also picked up another defender who was set to be released. This guy I'm very excited about. Luigi Gasperi was playing for Roma's youth team, was set to be released. He's really, really good. My staff don't think he's that good by his current ability and potential, but I'm going to be honest, if I could just compare him with someone like Andreni, who has a higher star rating, am I smoking anything to say that Luigi might be better? I think Luigi is actually really, really good. I mean, he is a centre-back that can't defend if you look at his polygon, but if we just ignore that for a second, amazing physicals, amazing mentals, snapped him up on a freebie, and best of all, he has got a work permit, so he doesn't need an ESC slot, which I hope means he's got some good potential. I feel like usually if players get work permits, it means they must be good. That's my logic. We'll see if it holds up. Besides him, though, two other signings I am making are just some scouts. Stefan and also Roy. Yeah, they're just scouts, but with some good knowledge of Europe, which might come in useful. And if you were wondering, I have just been looking at other youth players that are interested in a transfer from around kind of European football. There are some other players in Italy that are interested. They're nowhere near as good as Luigi that we've picked up. Looking at things here, just sort of by rep, you can kind of see I've been scouting from top to bottom here. I feel like we might have already found the best player, although Lasha Asatani, he's Georgian, 18. He looks very good, but he's really injury prone, and I really don't need more strikers. I don't need more. We're not going in for him. Apparently he plays in Liga 4. Is that the 4th division of Georgia? I have no idea. Answers on a postcard. Georgian viewers, there's one of you out there. Please let me know. Anyway, here is a little overview of the squad. One thing that I have just added going into this video is a little update on the players that are on part-time and full-time contracts. Everyone from Stevenson upwards is currently on a part-time deal. Of the regular starters in our team, Ngoma, Sunsat Bell, and, the goalkeeper Keeley are the only players really still on part-time deals, but their contracts all last for at least 3 more years. The reality is, if I offer them full-time deals, they probably won't sign for longer than 3 years. So as much as I'd love to get Jude and Ngoma on these full-time contracts, which might just help with their training and overall development, I can't really justify it. I mean, if I just go and ask Ngoma's agent, yeah, he wants £4.9 to £6,000 a week for a contract that lasts till 2034. His current contract also lasts till 2034. It's already on a 5-year deal. Literally no point in offering him a new deal. It's just going to see us get scammed. And just as a little bit of refresher and further context, Mkize is currently our highest earner at the club on £1,800 a week. Yeah, I can't justify giving anyone £5,000 right now. That's not to say we don't have the money to make that happen. The wage budget is really, really healthy. There's loads of headroom that we can go up and spend if we so wish. Of course, the transfer budget still sits at £10 million. Due to all the sales that we've made. That almost certainly has to be updated at some point because our overall balance is less than £2 million. Simply put, there is not £9 million to spend here. I don't know what the board are smoking. I do feel like this year, whilst we might be looking for 1 or 2 new starters, depth is going to be the name of the game. I discussed it last episode. I don't love our depth in the fullback areas. Jamin Stevenson, not the worst player in the world, not the best player in the world either. He hasn't developed so much, and it's kind of a similar story with Batumba. They are 2 players I might be willing to let go. Discussed the fact that I've got this issue with Norman Hamilton just skiving off training constantly last episode. He's unhappy at the club. He wants a move. If the right bid came in, I might be open to selling him, simply because We've got some really good striking options in the team, and with the likes of Faye and Espinoza, we've got two really young, exciting strikers I want to give game time to. And if Hamilton is just going to be an ungrateful little sod, and I can get money for him, it might just be time to cash in on him. I do want to make it clear, that really, really hurts me to say, but he has pissed me off and burnt his bridges this year. There's a couple of other players like Shipston who I'm definitely open to moving on. He's only got 1 year left on his current deal. An okay depth player, but I just feel like there's probably a better option out there. And elsewhere, Philip Lisser is a man with some really high value, still has a little bit of time left on his current contract. So if the right offer came in, I would definitely sell him up. You can see it, just look at our squad comparison right now. He's apparently our 7th best centre-back. I've got more good centre-backs coming in, and of course another centre-back who might be on his way out is Callum Morland. If anyone wants to make a bid for the brainless giraffe, that would be fantastic. That said, right now we are still in early May. The transfer window for English clubs doesn't open until early June, so the reality is we're probably not going to get too many bids between then and now. I think my main aim for the first bit of today's episode is just to hit continue and get to June. Not exactly a surprise here. We've set a record high for Rugby Town by winning League 2. That should be expected. We will set a new record high next year being in League 1. Soonsup Bell set the record for the highest average rating in League 2. I ended up on a 7.44. Made all the more insane when you realise that drop off in form he had during the middle of the year. Yeah, he has been a very, very good player for us. Of course, a big shame that he got that dislocated shoulder to end the season. He did also win Player of the Year award. The Golden Boot was also won by Jude. I won Manager of the Year, things you'll love to see. And you can see here, the League 2 Team of the Year featured 3 of our players, Ricky D, Goldsmith, Soonsup Bell. They are probably the 3 standout players in our team this year. I did know earlier, didn't I, that my contract was expiring at the end of the year. That probably should be something that I just ask for. Surely the board will just give me a new contract. You'd hope. Also, some good news here. Simkin has dropped his concern about lack of first team football. Does that mean he'll want to renew his contract as a backup goalkeeper? He does want to renew it. He wants £2,400 a week as a backup goalkeeper. I mean, he's a good goalkeeper and his contract's running up, but he's on £500 a week at the moment. I can't give a backup goalkeeper the highest wages in the entire team. That would be mental. Sorry, Tommy. Yeah, he's probably going at the end of the year. A player who I wouldn't have mind cashing in on, really. We probably could have got some okay money for him, but the reality was that we actually needed him this year due to injuries. He played 13 games for us. If Simkin is leaving with Keeley's injury proneness, there might be a temptation to bring in someone new. Keeley has had, well, a decent amount of injuries since he joined us. Yeah, you can't really have a goalkeeper that has 3 major injuries in the last 18 months. Okay, good news here. Board are going to grant me a new contract. Hopefully they're going to pay me slightly better. Just as a reminder, right now, they're paying me £200 a week. That is robbery. They have offered me a new contract. They're now telling me the transfer budget's £10 million. They're willing to give me a wage of £210 a week. £10 raise. Tell you what, Brian, you are a generous bloke. Give me £230. Won't even give me £20 more. Right, Brian, have it your way. I feel like this is one of those weird football manager things. No idea why I'm only allowed to be paid £220. I hope they're going to pay me the big bucks eventually. Yeah, also, just notice, last game of the season was our 300th game in charge. That's pretty big, isn't it? Okay, that new contract is confirmed to be signed. They've got me for a further 3 years. £220 a week. I mean, at least if anyone wants to come in for me, it is minimal compensation to buy out my contract, I suppose. Not sure if this should be a minor cause for concern, and Goma has been a little bit unhappy. He's wanted a new contract, but for the reasons I've already mentioned, and the fact he's still got 5 years left on his current deal, not been willing to sell him. There is interest in him from Swansea City of all teams. You might remember they picked up Slate from us previously. They actually finished 4th in League 1 last year, and then lost in the playoff final. So they will be in the same division as us. As you can perhaps expect, don't intend on selling Ngoma to them. Okay, good news here. The scouts that I was looking to sign have both been granted work permits. That is useful. I feel like you can never have too many scouts in Football Manager. Will say it does piss me off slightly that Roy is on £1,600 a week and I'm on 220. It's not fair. I'm just having a little look here through players that my scouts have taken a look at and rated so far this year. There is a man here who really stands out. Raoul Decker. He's a striker. I really don't need another striker. But this guy's 21 years old and he plays in the Dutch amateur leagues for Dem. Yeah, I've not heard of them either. Or should I say I've not heard of Dem either? No, probably shouldn't have said that. I am curious, how much does he want? £1,600 to £2,000 a week. Probably wouldn't get a work permit. Yeah, that's a problem. Now, Andreni's work permit is going to be reviewed on the 18th of July, so there might be an ESC slot open up then. Unfortunately for us, the other centre-back, who is also on one of these ESC work permits, Mkize, his review isn't until the 12th of January. So we'll only have one slot open up this summer at the very best from Andreni, and that will only happen where, if I'm not mistaken, based on last season, the league will be on the verge of starting. So probably a little bit too late for us. Have just noticed here, we have 200 season ticket holders as a League 2 / well, now League 1 club. I hope that number goes up eventually. Also, new scouting budget has been set for the season. We have a lot of scouting budget here. In fact, we can afford to scout Europe for the whole year. I could actually upgrade it to the world scouting range for the whole year, but given the fact that work permits are a thing, probably not worth it yet. If I'm not mistaken, if we make it to the Championship, you get a couple of extra ESC slots, but in League 1, it's the same as League 2, where you just get the 2 kind of players work permit exempt. Simkin wants to discuss a new contract. Mate, you want too much. You're not worth as much money as the players earning more money than you. It's as simple as that. He's leaving at the end of his contract. Simkin, I hate the fact it's ended like this. I'm just setting you for release, just so he knows where he stands. Hopefully he won't bug me for the next month and a half asking for a new contract. I've given you a chance. You've thrown it back in my face. I am also being asked here by Dem if I want to follow up on my interest on Decker. I would love to sign Decker, but I don't know if I need another striker. And on top of that, he wants far too much money. I have been sending my scouts out en masse to go and look at players during this off-season period. There's some very good players being thrown up here. If I untick the realistic transfers, you realise how much of their time I've been wasting just looking at random players from all around the world. The top player here, I love the look of Nelson Sibanda. This guy looks amazing, doesn't he? 17 caps for Zimbabwe at the age of 20. His value was less than £1 million, and I thought, well, maybe I can make an offer. Yeah, you can see here, 110,000 to 1.1 million. Wouldn't be interested in joining us under any circumstances. Tell you what, in a few years' time, this guy would be mad for us. He might even join us if we're in the Championship. The scouts love him. They reckon he's Premier League quality. Maybe I need to lower my expectations slightly. And for people wondering actually about kind of looking for players at this kind of level, I'm a bit ahead of myself here where I'm kind of looking ahead of time. But teams like Generation Foot are really good teams to be aware of. There's a couple of these kind of academy teams in the world and a couple of specific African nations I recommend scouting. Senegal is one, Ivory Coast is one, South Africa, and also Egypt. These teams do just have some mad players. You can see here I've got a lot of these players already scouted. I don't think any of them are going to want to join me anytime soon, but just scouting players who are playing for the under-23s for Senegal, a couple of these youngsters playing for the national team as well. In fact, you can see here where I've just looked at players under 20 in the Senegal national team, scouted them all, right-clicked, then hit scout all. These guys look very good. Some of these look great. None of them will get work permits, so just planning ahead. Well, that's what I tell myself. Another team to be aware of in Africa is ASEC. I don't think they produce quite as many players as they used to in previous football managers. In fact, you can see in this save game here, it doesn't look like they've even got any youth players worth checking out just yet. But yeah, they are a team that are very capable of producing some good players. Suppose you could tell that from their kind of youth facilities and recruitment. Absolutely mad. I feel like every hardcore football manager player has one or two academies they swear by that they'll always scout in football manager. Go down in the comments below. There's loads of these teams out there. Who else would you recommend? I know another team is the Puskas Academy. This team here, they always, well, I say always, they sometimes produce some good Hungarian players. They've produced Hungarian players here. They're all injured. I mean, are any of these guys good? They are quite good. I think the sad reality is probably a little bit premature to be looking at these players. If we're in the Championship, players like this guy would be amazing. Sadly, with 1.5-star rep, probably getting a bit ahead of myself. It's been 120 days since Zenha's work permit application was rejected. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to trigger an extension in his contract, let it kick in, and then apply for a work permit. I don't know why, but in my head, maybe having a longer contract makes him more likely to get the work permit. We can hope. We will find out on that decision today. I'm paying £20,000 for this. You better bloody get a work permit, Zenha. He didn't get a work permit. We'll be back in 120 days. Don't mind me, just looking at youth contracted players likely to get a work permit who are also interested in joining us. In fact, if I say it to doubtful, there's even more players interested and a load of them play for PS bloody G. I'm not sure what my current kind of queue of players I'm scouting looks like. I'm going to scout all these guys. My logic was that if you play for some of these big dogs, you must be good. You don't need a work permit. You're that good. I'm looking at these players. I mean, there might be a good player in here. Not seeing him. We'll see what the scouts say. I am also here just looking at players who are aged at most 19. These guys don't have to be on youth contracts and would be likely to get a work permit. There's a weird mix of players in here. I've already looked at someone like Sebastian Tim. How is this guy likely to get a work permit? Like, with respect to the Faroe Islands and Faroe Islands football, there are players way better than this guy who won't get a work permit for me, but Timmy here will. Looking at some of these players, they do actually look quite good. So I'm just going to click the top one, then go to the bottom, hold shift, scout all. We've been here before. Welcome to Work the Space. 31 players we're scouting now. And in fact, if I go to scout priorities, here's a list of all the scout assignments we've got going on. This is why having 10 scouts is useful. Really, at this point, I'm trying to scout as many players as possible so that when the transfer window opens in June, I am as well prepared as possible in terms of knowledge of players to go out there and immediately try and find the players we want. Have got a few players with contracts expiring come the end of the year. The most notable, and really the only one of note, is Gucci. Let's be honest, he's not been good enough for us this year. Whilst he's made a couple of appearances, we've moved on from Gucci now. Has been with us since the Southern League Premier Central, but as you can see, as we've climbed up the leagues, his level of performance just hasn't been able to maintain itself. I hope we can leave on good terms. He's had a good stay. You know, not a Hall of Famer, but just a solid player for us. One thing I've not talked too much about this year is the youth teams and how they've been getting on. The under-21s, you can see here, they topped a division with some very, very good teams in and amongst them. And in the Championship playoff, they made it to the final and bloody bottled it on penalties to Burnley. I say they bottled it on penalties. The Burnley goalkeeper got man of the match. Joe Richards was sent off in this game. His final ever appearance for Rugby Town in the under-21s before he goes, obviously, to Middlesbrough following on from his sale and loan back. And yet he bottled it. And as for the under-18s, they also won their league. I feel like when you look at their company here, it's not quite as competitive as the under-21s team in terms of the size of the clubs they finished in and amongst, but a dominant leader at the top, fewest goals conceded, most goals scored. Finally, all that investment we're putting in the youth teams, I feel like, is coming to fruition. We've just had our first little bump in money for players sold. I'm not even sure where this has come from. I assume this is the clauses that we had with players, but I swear those clauses for money in said July, not June. Maybe I can't read. Apparently, I can't read. No idea. In fact, I think it has just been these two clauses. But then Garrett's definitely said January and July. And then Bradley Edwards' July clause has been paid in June. You know, I'm not going to question it. We've been paid the clauses early. Coventry have offered the job to Jesse Marsh as manager. Coventry, who offered me the job, want to steal Jesse Marsh away from me. Jesse, please stay. I don't want to beg. And I don't think he's going to stay. But we might be about to lose our assistant manager to bloody Coventry. What can I do for you? Asked Jesse Marsh. I'll tell you what we can do. We share a strong professional rapport, and I hope you'll stay here despite the interest elsewhere. The quicker you let me get on with making any of my decision, the quicker this can be resolved. I didn't want to beg or grovel figuratively or literally, but you haven't exactly given me much choice. I really, really need you to stay at this club. Please, Jesse. Please, he's leaving. I need a new assistant manager. There's got to be a good assistant manager out here, right? There has to be. I hope. I'll level with you. I'm looking through the people available to be the next assistant manager. No one as inspiring as Jesse Marsh. Okay, hear me out. Ian Wilson, 20 years old. He retired at the age of 20 to become an assistant manager. Model citizen personality, national A license. You know what? I want to make an investment here. I want to bring someone in, bring them under my wing and look after them. Someone who won't stab me in the back like Jesse Marsh. Ian, you are that man. If you didn't know, staff do actually have potential ability like players do. So I'm all in now on making Ian Williamson here the greatest assistant manager ever. It's going to be very awkward now, isn't it, if Jesse Marsh decides to stay after all of this. That will be problematic. Here is all the young players I was scouting that play in Europe but might get a work permit. Are any of them any good? Apparently Kamara here has some serious potential. He has no current ability though. So potential means nothing. Just continue to flick through the C's and D's. Even look, Tim F. Why would anyone want Tim? Of all these players, there are a few here that might be good. I mean, Fernandez here has championship potential. If I need a new backup goalkeeper, I could do worse. Eric Fisher has an A rating. He is the only person to pop up with an A rating. He plays for Heidenheim. I don't want to pay £700,000. Also, his current wages are £4,000 a week. Can't afford him. Jesse Marsh, his move has been delayed due to a work permit. He needs a work permit to go and play for Coventry. I hope it gets turned down. The decision's not going to be made till the 19th of June. Kick him out now. He's announced his intention to leave. Waiting a work permit for his Coventry move. Get him gone. I want to release him. It won't let me. The move for Williamson has been blocked as we don't need another assistant manager. And for some reason, I don't have the decision to delay it. The board considered the possibility of removing a current staff member from the same role, but concluded it would have been in the club's best interest at the time. What do you mean? Jesse Marsh is about to leave. Ian, I'm going to come back for you, mate. Don't go anywhere. Okay, the transfer window opens in a matter of days. There are plenty of players coming, and hopefully, finally, we'll be able to kick out some of the dead wood. That's what I've really been waiting for today. I've just had an update about the ESC percentage of minutes played. As I mentioned before, a player needs to play 70% of minutes to get the work permit properly. Andrini's played 68%. And obviously there's no more league games to be played, so I have a sneaking suspicion he won't qualify for a proper work permit come July, unless he gets it off his caps for San Marino, which feels unlikely. If that 2% comes back to haunt me, I'm going to be livid. It's not like I've not been playing him that much. The literal reason he's not played enough games is because of a few injuries he had last year. Unbelievable. Also, transfer windows open. I think it might be time to transfer list and offer out all those bad players I mentioned earlier. Lissa, off you go, my friend. I'm sorry, Rio. I am sorry, but you've got to go too. This one particularly hurts, and I'm not actually going to transfer list him, but I am just going to offer him out. Norman Hamilton, away you go. Bitumba, offer out, transfer list. And also Stevenson, I think I'm going to do the same with. Stevenson's not someone who I'm as keen to sell, so we won't transfer list him, but we'll just offer him out to see if there's any interest. With all these players, I'm just offering them out for unspecified, just to really feel out the kind of temperature, see if teams will actually bid on them. Also, Simkin, you're not here next year, so to the under-21s you go. Okay, those players have been offered out. We'll hope we get some bids on them. We have had our new arrivals join us, players like Ben Hurst, kind of just punts for the future. Of course, a free transfer from Vanarama National League filed. Played okay in their team last year. And Goy, another player signed from the National League, really just a punt for the future. If he develops, amazing. If he doesn't, well, it's cost us £10,000. Granderson, released by Liverpool, just a good left-back option for us. And then the two players who I would say keep an eye out for. They could feature in the first team at some point. Zandon, perhaps slightly less so. 18 years old, another player released by Liverpool. Super consistent player, great addition for our youth team. And last but not least, Luigi Gasperi, who I'm very tempted to immediately promote to the senior team. He is just very, very good, like ridiculously good. Kind of coming to the realisation as well, he could just be the backup left back. Do I even need a backup left back? Stevenson compared to him looks crap. Maybe I've signed my backup left back by accident. More scout reports. How many players did I queue up to scout? I've got an obsession with it. Okay, I've hit continue, 12 bids, and some of these players are the players that we wanted to get bids. Stevenson, we've had a few for. Bitumba, plenty of bids. Hamilton, some. Lissa, some big bids as well. We'd love to see that. No one wanted Shipston. That's sad, isn't it? Okay, knowing that we've got Gasperi here, who's probably a better left-back option, I'm just going to let Stevenson go for the biggest bid. Blackpool have offered the most money with a sell-on clause. Going to try and negotiate with them a little bit. If I could get 100,000, that would be sensational. We will take that. I feel like Stevenson is a good player, but given the fact we signed him on a freebie, yeah, any kind of money's good. Have a sneaking suspicion the other teams that bidded on him aren't going to be able to match Blackpool's offer. Never mind, I take it back. Maybe I should have been asking for more. Pushing my luck here with Sheffield Wednesday to see if we can get 150,000. We can. I will be turning down those other offers once we hit continue once. In fact, I don't even need to hit continue once. I can just turn them down here. Yeah, Lincoln aren't going to be able to match that fee, I don't think. So 150,000 bid by Sheffield United. I will just now offer him out for 200,000 just to see if we can get a little bit of a bidding war going on. But to be honest, very happy with that money. Next up, we've got Bitumba, our backup right back who hasn't really lived up to expectations. A player we signed on a free, hasn't put in some good performances over the last 2 years we've had him. So any money for this guy would be good. Apparently his preferred destination is Forest Green. They've actually offered a kind of similar amount to Stevenson's bid that we got. So I'm going to just mimic that offer. 150,000, 50%. Shouldn't have done that. Should not have done that. I mean, to be fair, we have got this locked-in bid of 76,000 from a team who I've never heard of that play in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So worst case, we'll just sell him to them. Okay, I did try and negotiate the other offers. 76,000 was the best offer that we got, including a percentage of next sale. That's fine. Up next, Hamilton has no interest in joining Glentoran. They've not actually offered a great amount either, the Northern Irish side. £62,000 for him. Not for me. Lissa's had some bids. Now, Lissa is way down the pecking order of centre-backs for us. In fact, you can see here, Zangnon, who we've signed recently, was ahead of him according to our staff. So any money for Lissa would be massive. £400,000 has been bid by AFC Wimbledon. Peterborough have offered 300,000. I'm going to get cheeky here. How about 500,000 and 50%? Okay. I got too cheeky. Of course, Wimbledon are about to be promoted with us. I kind of want to push my luck here, but based on that last sale, I'm a bit scared too. How about 500,000, but I'll take it in installments, and I want 20% of any profit. Okay, well, I've balls that up. We'll offer him out again. I did previously offer him out for an unlisted amount. This time we'll just offer him out for 500,000 and see what teams say. And Shipston, I offered you out for an unspecified amount that defaulted to 200,000. We're never going to get that much for you. I'll offer you out for 125. Okay, I offered Stevenson out for that 200k. A load of teams have now bid on him. We've got a bidding war, ladies and gentlemen. So we accepted that bid from Sheffield Wednesday of 150,000. We've now got these really big bids suddenly coming in. Time to pit all these teams against one another. He is interested in talking to all these teams, and he isn't really indicating a preference. So I guess we just negotiate hard. At Forest Green, though, you are taking the piss there of 115,000. So with Wimbledon and Shrewsbury, I did try and up the amount, and they both just turned it down. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to accept the Lincoln City offer, reject the Blackpool offer, and then also reject the previously accepted Sheffield Wednesday offer. And now we're going to offer him out again for a bit more. And I've offered him out for a bit more. And now all those teams that didn't want to bid the 250,000 are now bidding the 250,000. Because of course they are. Okay, I'm going to accept the AFC Wimbledon offer. And then I'm going to turn down all the other ones because I think the other teams can probably afford to offer him more. And then we offer him out again. I'm going to offer him out for 350,000 this time. We'll bump it up by 100,000. I feel like I'm on eBay here selling an item. Well, I feel like an auctioneer. No one's made a bid for him, though. So maybe that's not a good sign. Maybe I've got too greedy. I say that. The current bid we've got on him is £250,000. That is a mad amount of money for a backup left back. We've had a bid for Callum Morland, everyone. This is not a drill. He is interested in talking to Linfield. We signed him on a free transfer. He has contributed nothing of any meaning. They're offering me £51,000 through instalments. I'm going to ask for the 50,000 up front and hope that isn't going to annoy them. Do I want more percentage of profit? Can you do me 40%? They can. Oh my word. We've got rid of him. I now have to hope he doesn't turn them down. You're probably wondering, Jack, when was the transfer special bit of the transfer special going to kick in? I feel like it's kicked in now. I feel like we're just selling things everywhere. AFC Wimbledon have made a bid for Lissa, £400,000, 30% of any profit, yet you can have him. I love this. Wimbledon knocked me out the FA Cup, and now I'm just selling all my reserve players to them for a stupid amount of money. We might have Stevenson and Lissa both heading to them for £650,000. That's mad. Also, I offered Stevenson out for 350,000. No one bid. Let's try 300. Jesse Marsh has been granted a work permit and has left the building. Never wanted him anyway. All right, where is Williamson? I need to go out there and sign Williamson, the assistant manager. Ian, do you want to talk to me? He wants to talk to me. He still thinks he's a under-18s assistant manager. No, Ian, you are made for the big time, my friend. You and me, we're going to take down the world together. You might have had an unsuccessful career at Altrincham. We're going to make a success of your managerial career, my friend. Realised I'm working on selling all these players. We've not really actually thought about the whole buying players thing. Maybe I'll just save that for tomorrow's episode once the season ticks over and our reps all updated. One player I've not offered out yet is Gabe Forsyth, but with all the injuries he's had, I am just going to offer him out and see if there's any interest out there. He's not a bad player by any means, but he kind of falls into that bracket with Callum Morland as players who I signed last year who I thought were going to be great, and then just weren't very good. Okay, Batumba's leaving the building. £76,000 for him is great. Fulham get 2.5%, so enjoy that, Fulham. No one wants to sign Shipston still. I might just give Shipston away. Might just have to give him away, everyone. We started out asking for 250,000. I'm now going to ask for £25,000. My expectations are being lowered. Peterborough have made a bid for Forsyth. They've only bid £110,000, but we signed him on a free transfer. And to be honest, I don't really want to have to use him with all the injuries he's had. He's just unreliable. Yeah, I'm going to sell him. So I'm going to sell him. I could still piss off Peterborough here in the negotiations. I want £140,000 and 50% of any profit. Love you, Peterborough. Love it. They knocked us out the pizza trophy. Now they get one of my players as a repayment for my gratitude. Williamson is set to join us as our assistant manager. I expect to see lots of welcome Ian messages down in the comments down below. Engage with the video, feed the algorithm. And Jamie Stevenson is leaving us. £250,000. Manchester City do get a decent sell on there. 37,000. I mean, for Man City, it's pretty insignificant. For us, though, the amount of money we are going to receive is rather nice. Okay, we've had some bids for Rio Shipston from Swindon and Notts County. There's a real lack of interest in him for a squad player who barely scraped into the first team for the second half last year. Happy to let him go for peanuts. And well, if all these sales now go through that we've got going on, I feel like we are suitably prepared to dive headfirst into the transfer market next episode. We've managed to increase our stature significantly. We love to see that. Is our star rating up to 2 stars yet? Not yet. In fact, if you were wondering about club reputation, we can sort here teams by their world rep. We want to do it this way round. And if we find ourselves in this list, where are we in this list? Here we are. As a League One club, we have rep that is lower than a lot of Vanarama National League teams. Obviously, we've just been promoted as well. The next lowest League One team is Colchester, who, if I'm not mistaken, have just been relegated. Yeah, they finished bottom, and they are way above us in terms of rep. This is an interesting one. Andreni, not going to get an ESC thingamadoodle. I've got lots of way better centre-backs coming into the team. How much have they bid? 78,000 rising to 110,000. Andreni's not that keen on Chesterfield. I don't blame him. Has anyone shown him the crooked spire on the Chesterfield church? They should do that. We have got one centre-back being sold in Lissa. I'm just going to take the money and run on that one. £400,000. We love to see that. This Andreni one is an interesting one. I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments because he is using one of our ESC slots. If I sell him, I can bring in another foreign player. And obviously, whilst we are getting rid of Lissa and also Moreland, we have already got Luigi, McLaughlin, and, obviously, Mkize here as centre-back options. So there are centre-backs out there. But he is our San Marino prince. There's not a load of other interest in him. I feel like if I was going to sell him, I want at least like 200,000. And even then, I'm not sure if I'd want to sell him. But if he isn't going to qualify for, a proper work permit and he's going to be stuck as an ESC player for another year, maybe not the worst idea in the world to let him go. Chesterfield, give me 200,000, 50%. Of any profit. I think I just have to take that offer. I know he's not that keen. Maybe I can persuade him. It's important you consider it. I've told him he's not part of our plans. I'm speaking to you as a person first and a boss second here. I haven't convinced him, but he'll go and listen to what they have to offer. Chesterfield, please offer him a good deal. I don't know if this is necessarily a controversial sale. I do just feel like he's maybe a bit of a waste of an ESC slot. And Mkize, who's using our other slot, is a notably better player. And if he's not going to free up that slot because he's played 78% of minutes instead of 80, it pains me to say Andreni might need to move on. I suppose what we can do is we can now offer him out for 250,000 and see if anyone else makes a bid. You can see here, League 2 signing of the year. I thought we'd have a player in this list. We have no player in this list. This is the first time this has ever happened. Also, we've just been informed of the league rule changes for League 1. I believe that means that tomorrow the new season officially begins and we will be in League 1. What are the media predictions going to be? What are the board expectations going to be? They always seem to change a little bit at this specific date. Yeah, what's crack-a-lacking? Mid-table is the League 1 aim from the looks of things here. Is that definitely the aim? I always feel like it can change it. No, okay, it is the aim. League 1, mid-table. I can do that. I think we can do better than that. You can see here we are now 17th in League 1 at the top, which means we have been updated. Media prediction, 12th. I thought we'd be higher than that, I'll be honest. If I look at this season preview here, it has us up in 6th alongside a lot of pretty big teams. Watford, Barnsley, Reading, Queen's Park Rangers. There's some big names in League 1 here. Swansea as well. Sheffield Wednesday. This feels like the Championship at the top, if I'm being honest. And Goma and Guerrero are in the Media Dream 11. I feel like we're going to need a lot from them this year. The key player in the entire league is Willot Swedberg. He is far too good for this division. We're going to receive £444,000 in TV rights in League 1. Callum Moreland is leaving the building as well. The money is coming in. I feel like now the big focus has to be actually going out there and strengthening the team in part 2 of this transfer special. We have our under-21s and under-18 league invitations. Of course, our promotion has officially been confirmed now. Few new contracts kicking in for young players, and to cap things off today, Gabe Forsyth is leaving for another £140,000. Still annoys me that the transfers kind of occur across 2 different screens here when it comes to end of season sales. But I'll tell you what, when you look at the players that we've sold here, we've got some really good money in today's episode. Almost £1 million recouped for 5, squad players at the very best. Suppose I should actually sort some pre-season friendlies and stuff. First game of the season, by the way, is going to be against Swansea City. They have Andrew Slate in their team, who is loan listed. Kind of mental that we managed to get so much money for him. They played him 12 games last year. He was dog water. Also, just totally forgot, Andreni might be leaving the building as well for £200,000. So we might be down to 19 first-team players. I'll tell you what, if you were annoyed about lack of signings today, I hope the sales made up for it. Next episode, we absolutely need to buy some players. Anyway, I think that is going to wrap things up from me today. Today, really just a case of getting to the end of the year, clearing out the squad, getting rid of that deadwood, cashing in what we could. We made some really decent money. I'm pretty happy with things so far. We actually have to sign people next time. That excites me. If you've got to the end of this video, as always, a like is super appreciated. Go down in the comments, let me know what position should be a priority for me. Am I an idiot for selling Andreni? I just feel like McLaughlin's probably a better option. I don't know. Answers on a postcard. Let me know down below. Thank you for watching if you got until the end. And until next time, take things easy. I'll see you on Monday. It's me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.